Hello everyone, Lisa Haas with Lisa Haas Custom Sewing. In class 1 of my one-on-one pattern editor classes, I show you how to draft a simple circle skirt using your body measurements. The circle skirt on that is designed to apply a waistband to it that fits to the waistline. In this video, I'm going to show you how to draft a full circle skirt with an elastic waistband using a 1-inch elastic. And in order to do that, we need to note two measurements. One is the hip measurement, and the other is the waist measurement. In Pattern Editor, I've inserted text of those two measurements, and with an elastic waist, you need to make sure that you can pull it up over the hip, and the fullness will be derived by how much more the waist measurement is. So I'm going to go into my calculator here. My waist measurement for this chart is 43.5 inches, and I'm going to multiply that times 1.5, and that gives me 65.25. So I'm going to come down here times 1.5 equals 65.25. Just make a notation so I can remember. Then I'm going to go into Utilities, select Calculator, and plug that 65.25 into my calculator. I want a full circle skirt, and I want to calculate the circumference, which is the 65.25. That's the distance of the whole outer circle to the radius, which is the center of the circle, to the outside edge. So that's going to be 10.5. Then I'm going to come in here to my circle, click once, and drag out. Do not click your mouse. Type in 10.5 and hit your enter key, which is the same as clicking your mouse. 65.973, that'll work. Now in the center of a circle, you're going to have this little X right here, and that is your snap point. The next thing I have to do is to figure out how long I want my skirt. Let's say I want it the standard 24 inches. So going back into my calculator, if this is 10.5 and I want to add 24-inch length, that's 34.5. So I'm going to come into my line tool. I'm going to right click on that X, hold my control key, drag out, type in 34.5, and then hit enter, which is the other left click. I'm going to do the same all the way around. 34.5, enter, spacebar, right click, drag out, 34.5, enter, say spacebar, right click, drag down, 34.5, enter. Then I'm going to come up here and intersect to the outer circle. Now you cannot break a circle, it just won't work. So you have to delete your circle and redraw it using your arcs. So select my arc tool, right click on each end of these horizontal lines, and then right click on the top side seam. Spacebar to repeat, right click on center front, center back, right click on the lower side seam. This is going to have to be broken apart, so select my scissor tool, click once outside of the area where you want it broken at, and then double right click where you want it to be broken. space bar to complete, click on it to select it, and then double right click. So now I've got 4 circle segments. Now we need to draw the outside hem edge the same way that we drew the inner circle and break it apart. Selecting the arc and then double right click at the break point. And then I only want to drag around this upper portion. You're only going to need 2 pattern pieces for this. Then I'm going to copy these. Then I'm going to further separate them by copying again. I'm copying so I can maintain the side seam line. So these are the 2 patterns we're going to be working on. This is our center front, so let's put some text in here. Center front, place on fold. Do one text height. And this line is 24 inches long, so I'm going to go ahead and put a grain line marker in, place on fold 22 inches, horizontal. We can go ahead and put a grain line marker in the back. It's going to be the same horizontal placement, only I'm going to do it 2-way at 22 inches. Now, since this is the side seam, this is your waistline, and this is the center back seam, and this is the side seam, I can go ahead and change those over to a dashed stitching line. I forgot this one. All right, now I can go ahead and do my offsets. I want a 1-inch hem allowance, 5/8 inch side seam and center back seam, and then I want a 1 1/8 inch casing for my 1-inch elastic. Could do 1 1/4, so let's do 1 1/4. Let's do 1 3/8. That'll allow you to turn under the raw edge 1/4 and still be able to enclose that whole 1-inch elastic. And then we're going to come in here and intersect all of our cutting lines. Now, the order that I do this in is not important. It's just the process itself. Sometimes I'll do it in one order, sometimes I'll do it in another order. But the order is not important other than learning the process. All right, so now we want to put some text in to define the patterns. This is the full elastic waist, circle skirt, cut 2. Now you can just copy this to the front, save some typing. When you want to modify some text, you just drag around it. There's a little X at the left of the first line of text. That is your selection point. And then you just hit TE for text again. I forgot to put in, but this is my front pattern. And I still forgot to put in cut 1 on fold. Come down here, modify, back pattern, cut 2. All right, so that's our full circle skirt. It's very easy. Then you want to group it, and then you want to group it. And there is your full elastic waist skirt. To continue on with the full circle skirt draft, I'm going to show you how to create a facing instead of doing a straight waistband. Now I always draft my facings at 2.5, so I'm going to go into offset 2.5. And I'm going to offset the waistline on both of these circle skirt patterns. Now with a facing, you want it to be about 1/8 of an inch narrower on the inside so it'll lay flat. So I'm going to break these stitching lines at the outside facing line. Click on the line to be broken, somewhere away from where you want it to break, and then double right click. I'm going to drag around all this and copy it down here. Move this over, and I'm going to get rid of this cut line. Now when I do my facings, I like to sew my fusible inner facing wrong sides to the right sides together on the facing at the outer edge, turn it under, grade that seam allowance here, and then baste it to the waistline edge, or whatever edge I'm going to insert it into, and then turn it and clip my seams and then fuse it that way. That way I have a clean edge along the outside. So then I need to intersect this center front. And what I'm going to do on the side seams is to go in 1/8 of an inch, 0.125, and put a point on each of the side seams. And I'll get rid of these two. Now, I have my line style for new lines set at a solid. I'm going to change this to a stitching line, and then draw, right click here, and then right click on that point. Spacebar to repeat. right click and right click. And then I can come in here on the edge and intersect it. Alright, so then we need, this is the side seam right here. Let's just put text in so we know. And I want this at 0.5 side seam. And this is going to be rotated 90 degrees. Let's see if I can take it down even further. 0.15. That'll work. Then I can copy it over to the other one. Now here, this is 2.5, so let's put a grain line symbol, a place on fold. Let's do 1.5. And we're going to place it horizontally. Now see, I had this set at a stitching line, so I'm going to take it back up for new objects and change this one over. Now, a trick of the program, when you go into your change, let me just demonstrate. If I have this at a stitching line and I go into change, I want to change this grain line marker. If I go to change style, it's going to default to whatever this is down here. So then I have to come up here and select the solid line. And then I'll pull this up. And I'll put a text in. Center front, place on fold, 0.15. Oops, I forgot that I had rotated it, so let's go back down here and rotate 0. This is the center back. TE for text. .15, 0 rotation, apply. Now, this is going to be a stitching line. So I'm going to change this to a solid, to a stitching line. Now it's already at a stitching line down here, so it defaulted to a stitching line here. So what I have to do is select a different kind of line style and then go back to my stitching line. Don't ask me why, but that's what it does. Then I can offset this. 5/8. And this is the center, the side seams. And then I go into my intersections. This still needs a grain line symbol, so we'll do a two-way, 1.5 inches, horizontally, the same as on the center front. Now you can tell that the grain line symbol is grouped by this little point in the center of it. And it does need to be grouped for your yardage calculator, otherwise you're going to get an error message. Yeah, that's grouped. So that's all there is for making a facing. You want to group it and group it. Now by tilting this in at the side seam, you don't want to do it at the center front or center back. You want to do it at the side seam. That's going to pull the facing in about 1/4 inch so that it will lay, it'll kind of curl under along this edge right here and lay flat on the inside of your waistband. And that's all there is to it. It's just a real simple process.